Welcome once again to the foundation of education, and we continue looking at the history of education. And today we are looking at module 7, and we continue with on module 7, where we are looking at industrialization and mass education period. So today we are concluding on this module, and we are looking at mass education period, which is in 19th centuries to 20th century. Um, Remember, this program is brought to you by Mukua College of Education, and we are offering intensive diploma in teaching methodology. And you can be able to enroll and get your diploma by scanning the link there, or calling on the number or WhatsApp on 0976 53. This is your host, Dr. Tulipo Mwenifumbo. So, mass education period laid the groundwork for modern education system, but also faced criticisms for its limitations and negative consequences. The massive education period, which spanned from the late 19th century to the mid 20th century, was characterized by number one, expansion of education. So, education at this period became more widely available and compulsory education laws were enacted. Number two, standardization. So in this period, there was standard curriculum, which curriculum and teaching method became more standardized. And also we saw the bureaucratic organization where education now was centered on the government, and the government dictated how education is supposed to become and is supposed to be. So education system became more centralized and bureaucratic. Then we saw also focus on socialization. Education emphasized on socialization, conformity, and patriotism. So that's why we see now there is a classroom setup, and there is also education become a community. There is socialization in the education. Then we saw also the upcoming of vocational training. Vocational training and technical education expanded. And also during this period, there was increased access. So education became more accessible to previously marginalized groups such as women and minorities. So in this period, in the 19th and 20th century, we see education now becoming common, and many people having access to education. We saw also the growth of higher education. Higher education expanded with more universities and colleges emerging. So the features of mass education, now we see these features like age graded classrooms. So now we have seen now where they have put grade 1, grade 2, standard A, standard B, and all those grades, and also the age that is required to be in those grades. Then we saw also in this period standardized curriculum. Now the curriculum is being dictated, and people should follow what the curriculum that the governments have set. Then multiple choice testing. It came now multiple choice testing, which came especially in the elementary education, which is primary education. Then we saw also the emphasis on and root memorization. So memorization became also the core of education, way of education in this period, because of the standardized curriculum, and also because of the focus of this kind of education. They need teacher-centered instruction. Children have and the students must follow what they are taught by the teacher, and they have to memorize them because the exams and testing will be based on what these lecturers, teachers, and instructors are giving. Then large class sizes, that's where now we see classes, community classes. We have seen now in this period lecture theaters, the large classrooms, and all that. Then, as we said, bureaucratic administration now, where education now is being standardized and it has to follow some protocol. They come in the also limitation of education to be offered by any other person. Reforms and initiatives. So the compulsory education laws, now education has become a right, not a privilege. So education is a right, and every person must be able to attend education. Then the other thing, the progressive education movements, we have a lot of movements that promote education, teachers education, and other movements that are related with education. Then vocational education. So we saw the coming up of vocational education. Previously, where people were learning through industries, but now we see institutions being built and coming up which are offering this tertiary education, which is giving vocational, and trainees are supposed to go equipped as they are going into industry. Then we have seen the adult education. Correspondence courses also emerged, and also public school expansion and standardization. So we see now the public schools, which are government owned schools, now they are the ones that are more. Previously, we find that most schools were owned by the religious organization, especially the churches. But now we see in this period the schools being owned by government, and the government dictating the education curriculum. Then additional initiatives that this period came with is a teacher training and certification. So in this period now, we saw now certification coming in. Previously in these years, there was nothing like had been given the certificate. It was what was required. It is the knowledge, and there was nothing like being certified, and so that you are able to show the paper. But in this mass education, that's where now we saw these now papers, diplomas, certificates to show what you have acquired. Then curriculum reform efforts, modernizing and diversifying curriculum contents. Then school administration reform, changes aimed at making school management more efficient and effective. That is where now we see now there are also trainings that you train in education management. Education for marginalized. Now we see also the education being expanded now to the blind, to the lab, to the people living with disabilities, and also included those marginalized, the rural areas, and education now goes everywhere. Then international cooperation. Now we have seen the collaboration efforts between countries to share educational best practices and address global challenges. Outcomes. In this period, that's where now we have seen the increased literacy and education rates. So people now, we are at this period, we had almost 50% of people that are able to read and write. So we have also seen the trained workforce for industrial jobs. So people now go into education or go into work while they have got skills from their vocational training. Then social mobility and urbanization. We have seen it was this period when people were coming from rural areas to come into urban areas after getting education or fetching for further education, and also for greener pastures. So standardized and bureaucratic education also emerged. The critics of mass education emphasize that overemphasizes on standardization. So this kind of standardizing education, where it is even limiting anyone to offer education, and whereby it is even becoming a criminal offense for if one is not licensed to teach. So that is a critic that is has been criticized in this mass education period. So lack of individualization. So in this period we see that the curriculum is designed, and also it does not focus on individual needs. That's why they are in the curriculum, they are irrelevant things. Even if you are not interested in other subjects, you just have to do them, and you have to pass whether you like it or not. So that does not talk to an individual. Then over reliance on rote memorization, whereby now exams are based on memorization, what you have been taught, and that is the thing that you are supposed to know, and those are the things that you are supposed to bring about. So when it comes to testing your knowledge, you are tested on what they have learned, not how you have absorbed the knowledge. Then inadequate preparation for critical thinking and problem solving. So in this education, mass education period, which is 19th and 20th century, because of its political well-being, and also because of the preparation of industrial people to work in the industries, there is no critical thinking. So it's like you are just dictated on what you're supposed to think. You are not supposed to question anything. So education, you are meant to just to get things, to get education without questioning. Then preparation of social inequalities, perpetuation of social inequalities because of the expense of education and the fees attached to education. You find that there is inequality in acquiring education. In this period, we see the key figures who the gurus in this period. We have got Horace, who advocated for compulsory education and public schools. Then we have got Frederick Taylor, who developed scientific management, emphasizing efficiency and standardized education. Then we have got John Dewey, who promoted progressive education, focusing on student-centered learning and social reforms. Thank you so much, and God bless you. So, remember, this program is brought by Mukuba College of Education, and uh, you need to come for your intensive diploma, which we are offering. Thank you so much, and God bless you.